Hi, my name is Cameron, but everyone calls me Cammy. My favorite color is light orange, and major words people have used to describe me are loud, opinionated, and not a very good listener. Now, believe it or not, these description words are not describing me in a positive light. As I grew up, I realized that I didn't want to be that loud, opinionated girl people were perceiving me to be. I wanted to learn how to be perceived as someone with a valid point of view so I could be taken seriously without all the immature, annoying habits. I'm going to be sharing with you a technique that I have learned and adopted to convince people even 3 times my age to listen and agree with me. By the end of my speech, I hope that you too gain insight into being a strong and effective communicator. A definition of win is to be victorious in a contest or conflict. My first relevant example of winning occurred when I was 13. I have psoriasis, which is a long-lasting chronic condition in which the immune system becomes overactive, causing skin cells to multiply too quickly. Now, typically, psoriasis appears all over the body. However, in my case, it only appeared on my nails, which took a really long time to diagnose. I know, I'm weird. Now, please, if you are squeamish, look away because the photo I'm going to show you is gross. Okay, I warned you. This is what just one of my nails used to look like. Don't look back yet. Okay, now you can look back. Because of that insecurity, I was obsessed with the idea of having fake nails to cover up my unsightly secret. My mom, on the other hand, was not on board with this idea. But my 13-year-old self was not going to go down without a fight. So I paused and began to comprehend what my mom needed to agree with me. My mom needed to hear the positive benefits while also acknowledging the negative ones. Taking this into consideration, I put together an entire slideshow presentation on why I should get fake nails. After a lot of hard work, research, and a lot of begging, I finally got the results I was looking for, with a little help along the way of an effective medication. This example is the first time I saw myself gaining success through logical processes that led to a positive outcome. This first example influenced my plan for years to come. Going back to my original statement about winning, I have a request. I ask that all of you get in your heads one instance where you can say confidently that you won an argument. Now hear me out. Do you feel like you truly won the argument? Whoa. Are you satisfied with the outcome? Now, quickly, before I get into that, I want to mention that I completely acknowledge arguments are not planned. You never know when you may start to bicker and divulge into feelings that you've been holding in. Now, something I had to learn when perfecting my technique was the inability to control other people. It's hard. Human beings are naturally stubborn. To be able to step outside of your comfort zone and acknowledge other people's opinions on situations and how they may feel or react is a major advantage. So let's talk about it. My technique developed from researching this idea of tackling an argument so it's not based on luck. If I could become successful against my mom once without it ending in a lasting argument, I knew there had to be a way of doing it throughout life. Resources like the Dear Man concept, the Butler Collegian, and other various professional resources have allowed me to develop this idea further. My technique is a 3-step plan that results in conflicts being thoroughly analyzed to see if there's a way of resolving them. Step 1, prepare yourself with knowledge on your argument and your opponent. We have to make sure we know the type of person we're working with. Now, I know that all of you have one person who comes to mind who you find it impossible to get your point across to. It could be a parent, guardian, grandparent, friend, or even teacher. Yeah, you guys. Assuming that you've gotten into a conflict with this person, I want you to now put yourself into their shoes. Think about actions they have done that have stuck with you in your head. Now, think about why they may have miscommunicated. This is the first and arguably most important step of my technique. Everyone has different personalities and thinking styles which heavily affect one's ability to hear others. Without prior research, winning against my mom would have been impossible. The understanding she saw me gain by researching just a few websites gave her the sense of peace and trust in my outcome, which I predicted. Understanding your opponent's personality can save you a lot of wasted energy in the end. Step 2, argue. Now, this is the time when you should state your claims, but also refute your opponent's claims that are weak because they use something called this step is complex. Before I get into that, I like to think of this step as a sandwich because it's complex, but I have celiac disease, so with gluten-free bread. Slice 1, listen respectfully to their claims. Filling, state your claims or refute their misguided claims. And final slice, crossfire, acknowledge all aspects of the argument. Let's talk about slice 1. Now, listening is crucial to your argument and can only make you look better. Your opponent has their side and usually will have no issues letting you know what it is. When they are talking, take mental notes in your head trying to find things that you can easily explain. Now, you must control yourself and allow your opponent to fully finish speaking before you resume talking. The Butler Collegian explains in an article called The Importance of Arguing to Understand that listening to your opposition is crucial in aiming to understand them. It benefits both parties involved because both sides feel heard and seen when the listening is reciprocated. When someone doesn't feel heard or seen in their emotions, they are less willing to seek to understand yours. Theoretically, if you listen to your opponent and allow them to fully finish speaking before you dive in with your claims, the expectation of the argument is now raised. Your opponent will feel heard in their claims and make the argument run smoother because of this new elevation of trust that you have created. Filling. Now, this is the time when you're going to state your claims, like I mentioned before. But you are going to refute their claims that are weak because they use something called a logical fallacy. There we go. A logical fallacy is a common error in reasoning that undermines the original point of the argument. So, your opponent may say things that are valid, but are unfair to the current argument that you're having. Whether they were grasping at straws or just misread the situation, these points will be illogical. Respectfully, bring up these claims and explain why they are incorrect for reality-based reasons. This still is different from when you should eject out random comments, considering all these points should be fact-based. And final slice, crossfire. Now, this is the time when you go back and forth explaining your sides and explaining why things happened the way they did. Now, if you're going to take anything from this today, listen to what I'm about to say. Some of your opponent's claims will be correct. Whoa. That's a hard one, but they will be correct, and it's so honorable to take responsibility. We're all human. We all make mistakes. Now, this step may get messy or unorganized, which is why it is so important that you understand the root of this argument. Why are you fighting with this person? Are you hiding something from this person that may be affecting the way that you're feeling? What are your true emotions? Is there something your opponent is saying that you haven't noticed before? Understanding your feelings and being vulnerable with your opponent will conclude step 2. We made it. Compromise. Step 3. This is when, before giving your opponent space, as most would after an argument, give a considerate summary of your claims, and also acknowledge their time spent. Even though you guys both may not be on the same side of the argument, there is literally no reason to create extra tension. Everyone has different personalities, and different personalities work better together than others. The Fostering Network also explains that taking responsibility for our life allows us the satisfaction and contentment of knowing we did our best. Even if the outcome is not as we hoped, knowing we were in control and couldn't have done any more gives us a peace of mind. Understanding your emotions, learning how to take responsibility, understanding how to communicate, and knowing how to maintain healthy relationships ultimately will make you a better person. I am lucky enough to have the best people in the world in my circle who have allowed me to grow into my technique and understand how to go from pushing things down, bottling them up, to communicating what I need and working through my arguments. Today, my goal was to share with you a strategy I use every day in hopes that at least a few of you have connected with me. If at least one of you here is going to start implementing my 3-step plan into your lives, that little Cammie, who's annoying, inside of me is beaming her brightest. Thank you.